Hello everyone, and welcome to the Introvert Leaders Challenge, Finding Your Leadership Courage. My name is Brent, and I've been involved in leadership roles and position, leading volunteers, leading teams, training leaders in different nations around the world for the last 20 years. And yep, I'm an introvert. And to be honest, my preference would much rather be to sit towards the back of an auditorium. My preference would be to support someone else leading. I'm not the guy who wants to put up his hand. I'm not the guy who wants to volunteer his opinion. And yet, I know that there's leadership inside of me, and that's why I've challenged and wrestled and fought through these very same things you're facing right now for the last 20 years, finding my leadership courage. So what is an introvert leader's challenge? Well, in a nutshell, it's fear. Certainly for me, it's insecurity. It's the natural shyness that wants me to step back rather than be front-footed. It's those things that keep an introvert from being the kind of leader that they feel on the inside they really want to be, could be, and should be. Now, as I was journeying along this leadership journey, I actually started off with the thinking that being an introvert and being a leader were polar opposites. You could be one or you could be the other, but introverts didn't make leaders. What's changed over the last 20 years is I've really come to believe that, in fact, introverts can make some of the best leaders. If you look at world history, so many of the great leaders and inventors of the past were in fact introverts themselves who changed history through their leadership. But they were willing to face this introvert leaders challenge. Now, introverts are often overlooked as leaders or to be selected as leaders by their more illustrious counterparts, the extroverts. Those are the A-types, the alpha males, the ones who are quick to an opinion, quick to put up their hand, quick to voice a suggestion. And sometimes as a result of that, the voices of the introvert is not so often heard. But for those introverts who are willing to find that leadership courage, I believe there's at least 6 reasons why introverts can make some of the best leaders there are. Firstly, introverts are more inclined to serve than to try and dominate. Which servant leadership is the most powerful? I think it's the only form of leadership. And that's why introvert leaders are actually set up for success in this way. Secondly, is introverts love to empower more than control. Certainly for me, one of my greatest joys is to empower others to do rather than try and do everything myself. An introvert is normally wired in that direction. Thirdly, introverts generally are more humble than they are arrogant. And humility, for me, is one of the greatest leadership qualities because you're not trying to put the focus on yourself, but rather focusing on others and helping them to shine and to rise up. Another reason that introverts make great leaders is they normally incline more towards listening than just to speaking. And great leaders who want to bring out the best in a team should be great at listening, pulling out suggestion, pulling out ideas from other members of the team and using those. Another reason why introverts can make great leaders is that they're often more inclined to deeper thinking than impulsive decisions. Now, there are times when leaders have to make quick decisions, but oftentimes it's not the first suggestion that's the best suggestion. It's the one that's been thought through carefully. And generally, introverts are inclined towards deeper thinking, pondering, and finding good solutions. And lastly, because introverts are more inclined to build a team than try and be a Lone Ranger superhero. And these 6 things, I think, are just some of the reasons why introverts can and should make some of the best leaders there are out there. And the reason you're watching this right now is because maybe you've been recently thrust into a leadership role. Maybe you see leadership as part of your future. Well, if you are willing to face the introvert leaders challenge, if you're willing to journey with me as we find courage inside, then I believe this course can make a big difference. And certainly my hope is to add value to your leadership journey. So let's journey together as we face the introvert leaders challenge and find our leadership courage.